hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. Today is more than another interview, it's a moment of gratitude, reflection, and legacy in the making. I am Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the host of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, but I'm also the creator and visionary behind the new book, Thankful for It All, Embracing Growth Through Life's Lessons, which is an anthology that will be released on Thanksgiving Day of 2025. This book was born from a very deeply personal space. In June 2024, I was reflecting on my own journey, especially the moment I made one of the most courageous decisions in my life. In October 2023, I left my full time job to focus on entrepreneurship. And once I stepped away, my mind and my heart became clear. I realized how many people like me carry weight that they never share with anyone. So, you know what I did? I posted a simple message on social media inviting others to share their untold stories. Now, many responded. But ultimately, 15 incredible people stayed the course and completed the task. These contributors are brave, vulnerable, and committed to leaving their mark on the world through gratitude and growth. Then, as it turns out, life reminded me again of what it means to pause and heal. September 2024, I fractured my ankle and the project had to be put on hold. Today, I am standing in front of you on 2 feet, as stable as I possibly can be. But during that period of recovery and reflection, I learned more about stillness and patience and perseverance more than I ever expected. And after months of physical therapy, I returned to the work in January 2025, determined to finish what we started. And now, here we are, standing on the other side of delay and adversity and transformation together. As I speak to you today, I'm also walking through a deeply personal moment. My 104-year-old grandfather is in the final stages of life under hospice. Watching him transition has reminded me of something profound. So many of us stop living long before our time because we stop being thankful. Gratitude, I realized, is what keeps us alive. And today, we celebrate those who kept living, those who faced heartbreak and hardship and healing, and in spite of it all, chose to be thankful for it all. Let's start by meeting our authors. And just so that we don't get confused, I will just call out the names and give us your 30-second introduction. And we're going to start with Dr. Ellis Watson.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dr. Renita Ellis Watson. I'm from the Houston, Texas area, and my contribution is when letting go saved me. So, do you want me to go into a little bit
No,
about
we're
it,
going to keep
or?
on going. Thank you.
Okay,
On to
thank you.
Jenna Bishop Bill.
Good morning, all. Happy Saturday morning. My name is Jenna Bishop Beal. I'm the Director of Risk Management Services, basically a practice manager for an anesthesiologist. I've been in the risk management industry, health information management, and compliance for about 16 years now. My chapter is persistence over perfection.
Love it, love it, love it. Next, Rivka.
Hi, yes, my name is Rivka with the long E. If you see me online, you probably thought it was Revka, and it's Hebrew for Rebecca. I have ADHD, and so my career has been scattered over the years from entrepreneurship to medical coding now, but my chapter has nothing to do with any of that. And it's titled No More Hiding, and you'll learn later why.
Thank you. And since we're all staying in the coding space, let's go to Angela Buff.
I'm Angela Bove. I'm from Western North Carolina. I've been in the healthcare industry now about 15 years altogether. I was an adult learner. I didn't, just start out in healthcare. I was an adult learner and just in coding once got in there. And then I was moved into a supervisor role with Advocate Health back in the first part of 2025.
All right. Thank you, Angela. And the next person, Robbie, has so many different backgrounds in the healthcare space. So, Robbie, go ahead and give us your 30-second elevator pitch.
Definitely. My name is Ravi Batra. I've been a bedside nurse for over 10 years. I also worked for a small consulting firm doing clinical strategy, and that's what sparked my interest in going back to school. So I'm currently doing my MBA MHA at Georgia State University, and I graduate in spring 2026.
All right. And last but not least, Marcy Bryant, one of the pretty poodles. If you know, you don't, you know.
Hi, everybody. As Dr. Lisa Campbell said, my name is Marcy Bryan. I'm excited to be here. The name of my title is From Burnout to Breakthrough. And a little bit about me, I am a corporate marketing and communication strategist. I am also an author, a co-author in a few other books outside of this one. I'm a writer for Career Master Magazine and newly have been added to the board of directors for two nonprofits with my work starting in November. I'm very excited to be here.
All right. Thank you so much. And as I mentioned earlier, there are a total of 15 authors. Unfortunately, all of them were not able to be here with us today. And so, what I want to do is let's talk a little bit about what it means to be thankful for it all. And so, I'm going to invite three of you to answer the question, what made you say yes to being a part of this project? So whoever wants to answer, go ahead and go.
I mean, who says no to Dr. Lisa L. Campbell? I mean, first of all, let's just be honest with each other. Who says no? I mean, she's one of my dearest friends and my a great mentor. So who says no to Dr. Campbell?
You know, Jenna, I want to say this to you publicly, but when I was sitting in my bedroom, not knowing if I was going to walk again, you came into my bedroom in the only way that Jenna knows how to and brought some sunshine to my room that really helped me realize that I will be able to walk again. But it's difficult to see that when you're in the moment. And so I want to thank you again. I love you for bringing sunshine to my room.
I love you too.
My husband's like, I love Jenna.
Yes. So I had I broke my plantar plate. I'm a runner, so it's typical for runners to break a plantar plate or something. So I broke my right plantar plate. So I was in a boot for about 4 months. So, navigating how to shower, go around, and things like that. I've never broken anything in 49 years. So I didn't know what to do. So when my dearest friend says, I don't know what to do, I said, I've got the perfect solution for you. So, yeah. Yeah, it was. I was going through a difficult situation for me allowed me to help you.
I love it. Who else wants to share why they decided to do this project? Marcy.
I will share next. Um, Early in my career, I remember my manager, every time I went to her with a problem, she was always smiling and say, "It's all good." And one day I stopped and asked her, "Every time I come to you with the problem, I don't understand why you're always smiling." She's like, "Because no matter what the situation is, I count it all joy. Either it ends in a win or it ends in a lesson." And that was something that I was able to take with me throughout my career and throughout my life. And so thankful for it all. To me, is really in alignment with that manifesto, count it all joy. And so I've never had a chance to really write about how challenges can lead to overcoming and new opportunities in life. So I thought this was a great opportunity for me to share that, and seeing that I had gone through some really challenging times, learned some lessons and found some wins and opportunities through those challenges. I thought it was a great opportunity to share my story. And like Jenna said, who doesn't want to work with Dr. Lisa Campbell?
All right, one more person.
I'll go.
Robbie. And Robbie, how did we meet? We met in Georgia, right? Because you guys know I
Yeah,
love to get on the plane.
you came and spoke at a conference that I attended for the HFMA, Georgia HFMA Spring Institute. And you were such an amazing speaker, and I learned so much from all of your speeches that you did at that conference as keynote speaker, which was awesome. The reason why I did this is to share my story of growing in healthcare leadership, and it gave me a really good opportunity to just reflect on my own journey. I don't think I even took the time to really reflect all that I went through to grow, and so that's why it was such a great opportunity for me to just think about how I got to leading a student organization and doing such a great job at being president of our future healthcare executives.
I love it. I love it. So let's move on to another question. And this is about when you were compiling the contents of your chapter. What emotions surfaced that surprised you the most? Everybody's like, do I have to volunteer someone?
I'll volunteer. I'll volunteer. I was voluntold by Dr. Lisa. For me, uh, it was just over the past couple of years, there's been so much going on. And so, and Dr. Lisa, know, because she and I have been friends in the healthcare arena for a very long time on the academia side. So for me, it was an opportunity. I mean, I felt grief, I felt happiness, I felt, it was like a large array of emotions, of feelings, because over the past years, there has been so much going on. So for me, when the topic of when letting go saved me, it was about, again, a revelation in my life, so within that revelation, there were so many feelings, so many emotions. I mean, I cried. I think when you and I talked, I cried a moment, I laughed a moment, so it was just everything all together. It's hard to explain it, but it was just every emotion possible was involved in that situation, involved in that moment. And I appreciate you for that as well, because I needed that. I needed to let go, and I needed to be saved in that moment. And you knew that. God knew that. I just didn't know that.
Oh, I love that. And one of the things that I personally realized was that I was allowing myself to be held hostage by salary and benefits. And the organization that I was with, we were no longer in alignment. We were no longer in alignment for so many years, but I was so comfortable that I didn't want to let go. I kept saying for years I was going to leave, but I got to a point in life where I had to realize that in order to be in alignment with my assignment in life, I had to let go so that I can grow. And so I'm standing in front of you today as someone who has realized her own self worth and realized the impact that she needed to have on the world. And she couldn't do that when she was sitting under that umbrella. I had to let go. Who else wants to say something about that question? What emotions you felt Rivka, guys, let me tell you about Rivka. Rivka, if you are a medical coder and you're in healthcare, you really have to go on LinkedIn and follow her journey. She showed us all. She actually revived me. And what do I mean by that? After teaching medical coding since 1997, I just felt like everybody was getting into it so that they can work from home, make $90,000 a year. And they weren't in it for the love of the work. They were in it for the potential revenue income. But when that didn't happen right away, they became negative. Rivka flipped that and walked us through her journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and came out on the other side victorious. She was brave enough, vulnerable enough to do that.
That was a lot of fun. And it I know that's not the topic we're talking about at the moment, but that's because somebody said make yourself visible online and you never know who might see it. I did not expect I'm about to hit 10,000 followers soon. I did not expect that, but I'm thankful that I have that opportunity. And when going back to the topic we're talking about, when we did our interview, what surprised me about my reaction during that interview was that those emotions for a crisis that was a decade ago came back really really strongly. And yeah, I was crying at one point. And I it's so far in the past. And so much has happened. I've worked through it and all that kind of thing. I didn't expect that sadness and everything else to come back, so that was a huge surprise.
Well, and when I read your stories, which I had to read them multiple times, I think I have one more time to read them. The publisher has uploaded everything. She has all the numbers that you need for a book. And as I read each and every story, something occurred to me, and that is you don't heal what you won't reveal. And a lot of us walk around with these masks on, like all is well, when all is not well. And I personally have learned it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry and cry and cry again, because you really can't walk in your purpose if you don't let it go. So, speaking of releasing some things, Marcy, what you got to say about releasing something that no longer serves you?
There were definitely some things I had to release that no longer served me. There were some things that I had to overcome. I talked about a few things, which was losing jobs, losing clients, and even losing the premise of my long term relationship. And I think the biggest thing that I lost was the mask, both myself and my partner. I think once things got to uh, what I would call our lowest point. We didn't have anything to quote unquote lose anymore. And so the honesty that came from uh, those difficult conversations allowed us to see our truest self and to accept each other for our truest self. And now the friendship and the bond that we have and the support that we have from one another is the type of love that I've always dreamed of having with myself and my partner, including self love, seeing myself and being able to rebuild. I think letting go of yourself, of who you thought you were, to make room for a new version of you is one of the hardest things that you can let go of. But it's kind of like a snake shedding its skin. It's still you, but you can't always go back to the old version of you once certain things happen. You have to figure out how to forge a new path forward. And letting go of things that no longer serve me, including the old version of myself and my relationship, was probably one of the most freeing things for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So let me move on to another question. Sometimes when we release what we've carried, we not only lighten our own load, but we open the door for someone else's healing. So, how has sharing your story after you saw it on that electronic form, how did it change you?
I'll go. I talk about the challenge of being a single parent. My first marriage ended when my now 23-year-old was 3 months old. But the background that I have is everyone in my family is college educated. Many of us have masters and doctorals and things like that. So it was always instilled in us. I'm a twin. It was always instilled in us by my parents of where are you two dingbats going to go to college? It was never of if, well, are you thinking about it? It's where are you two going? And so, not one of the things I'm thankful for and grateful for was the assumption that my parents had about continuing our education, going to college, making sure we graduated in a good degree that would serve us well. When you're not underwater basket weaving, what are you going to do with something like that? So I think that's the thing that I'm most grateful for. But then becoming an unexpected single parent to a 3 month old, and I didn't know this at the time. It was just an assumption to me. I'm glad that I assumed, but I always understood that you have your undergrad, and then what are you going to do with it? So you have a 3 month old, and you're raising a child and trying to co parent and things like that, but try not to make it a stigma. Like, I'm a single parent. I didn't want to be in a situation, and things like that. So how do you grow from that? So my first master's degree started when my little guy was 3 months old, and I would work when he was sleeping. So, and then I graduated in 2 years with honors, went on with my life, got better jobs, better promotions, started meeting people, getting involved in associations. And it literally was the foundation of how I looked at life. So you have a challenge. What are you going to do with this challenge? Are you just going to fall down miserably and just say, woe is me? Or are you literally going to put on your boots, pull up your bootstraps, and move on with your life to better yourself, to say for your kids to be proud of you, to say, yeah, my mom did that. My mom's got multiple, graduate degrees, and she did it on her own. So I think it's the stigma that people have towards single parents that they can't do it. I mean, whether you're married, you're single, or in a partnership, it takes a village to raise one child. So you have to be smart enough to use your resources that you have available to you to move yourself forward. So I think that's the thing for me. And I teach online as well, and I see a lot of single parents out there, and they kind of fall in that pit. I didn't get my discussion questions done or my assignments because I'm a single parent. And I say myself, I finished a master's degree when I was a single parent. Don't use it as an excuse because, but you have to realize that if if you just have given birth and your baby's 3 weeks old, maybe it's not the right time for you to go to for you to take on these courses, to take on the extra responsibilities. You have to realize and be strategic of when is the right time for you and learn how to pivot.
I love it. And something I just thought about when you talked about putting your bootstraps on. My uncle used to always tell us, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And so I'm just reminded of the firefighters. They're in the firehouse, all is well. But then all of a sudden, that bell goes on, and then they immediately jump into action. Not because they just been sitting there cooking all day and chatting, but they do drills and other things to be ready. And I think a lot of times we get so comfortable that when that fire happens, we're not ready and we get burned by the fire. And me, I don't want to get burned up by the fire. I want to put a hose on the fire and put it out and keep on moving. So we just have a couple of minutes left. And so before we close, let's do a quick lightning round. I want each of you to share. I'll give you two options. Number one option is, in one sentence, tell us what it means to be thankful for it all to you. Or the other side of it, give a piece of advice for someone who's struggling right now to find gratitude. And just so I don't get confused, I'll just go in order, starting with Dr. Ellis.
Okay, I'm sorry, repeat the question. So I guess my one piece would be being purposeful, being, for me, it's not controlling every situation. So just learning how to be in the moment and love the moment that I'm in, uh, that's it. Being in the moment and loving the moment that
That's
I'm in,
enough, because
being
many of us
purposeful.
don't stay in the moment. We're all over the place.
Yeah, exactly,
All
exactly.
right,
Thank you.
Jenna.
I would probably have to say my recommendation is learn how to, and this is very difficult for a Greek who's always on the run, learn how to sit and be quiet. Because if you could, and I learned this by running, if sometimes I would turn on my music and just hear my footprint and my breathing. If you would learn how to use your body the right way and sit and be quiet, you will actually hear more than you expect to. And then you take those ideas and you pivot
I
and run
love
with
it.
it.
And sit and be quiet voluntarily, because when you're in a situation, when you're in a non weight bearing status and you're forced to sit, it's different. It's different. All right, Rivka.
So, being thankful or grateful for it all to me does not mean that we rewrite our situation and gloss it over and pretend that it is something it is not. We do not pretend things are not hard or that they are easy or that we're not struggling. That's not being grateful. Gratefulness is grounded in reality and honesty and the realization that hard things are not fun. If I could choose, if I could direct my life, would I choose hard things? Not fall and look back. Those are the places that have taught me the most and where I have grown and that have made me strongest. So I am grateful for those experiences while also kicking and screaming and clawing my way through them. And so being grateful for it all, don't feel like you have to be a shiny, happy person. Um, it's fine. Acknowledge the difficulty and how hard things are. But gratitude can and should coexist with that.
I love it. Angela.
For me, being thankful for it all is just being thankful for both the good times and, the bad times, the negative things in our life, take those negative situations, try to turn them into something positive. I mean, that was for me, that's what, when you read my thing here, in my chapter of the book, I took the situation of a job loss and I was able to turn that around. Was able to go back to school and get an education and, and have the opportunity to be where I am today.
I love it. Ravi.
So I would say, don't forget, like the small actions can make such a big impact. Like just making a simple like list of things that you're thankful for, it just makes such an impact on you. And also, don't underestimate the impact that you can make on others coming from a place of gratitude.
Love it. And last but not least, Marcy.
All right. So many people have talked about being thankful for it all. And I feel like that's where I started. So I'm going to address the other side of the coin, which is what advice do I have for someone who is currently going through a challenging time? So there are two things. One that's always stuck with me that my mother told me, which was nothing beats a failure but a try. So if it's something that matters to you, never stop trying. And if it seems like the well has run dry on the things that you've tried, really sit with yourself, be still, be quiet, and think, because you can get creative about the things that you have not tried. Just because it's not something that you're used to that you haven't tried, that's when you start thinking about, well, who do I know that's successful? What are some of the things that they've tried? How can I apply that to my life? Thinking about people you love and things that they have overcome, whether it's a similar situation or not. And the other thing is personal accountability. We can go from the victim to the victor when we think about what was our role in things, even if we feel like someone had done us wrong. Maybe so, but is there anything that you could have done differently? Even if it's just being kinder to yourself, giving yourself more grace, because when you can accept your role, you can forgive yourself and start to heal and transform from there.
Wow, 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 wow. But listen, guys, I want to thank you all for your courage, your vulnerability, and your willingness to turn pain into purpose. For those of you who are out there listening, this book isn't just a collection of stories, it's a living testimony of human resilience. It's a reminder that even in those hardest moments, we can still find something to be grateful for. And gratitude doesn't erase the hard things, it transforms them. Thankful for it all, embracing growth through life lessons will be released on November 26, 2025, which is Thanksgiving Day. And I invite you to join us on this journey. The link to purchase the book is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And we look forward to hearing all of your feedback about the book, as well as what you're thankful for. And coming in 2026, Thankful for It All, Volume 2 will be in the works after I release my other book, because I realize it's selfish to hold your experiences in. You have to let others know that somebody else went through that situation and they're on the other side of it, smiling, living, breathing. And I said something to someone, and I'll leave you with this. My grandfather is in hospice because number one, he's 104, but his kidneys are failing, right? So many of us put ourselves in hospice when we have so much to live and we haven't even been given a diagnosis to say that life is over. Life is for the living, and it is so important that you live your own life, irrespective of what that path looks like for you. It's yours and yours alone to walk. Thank you guys so much, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.